everyone, and welcome to my autumn book haul. It has actually been quite a few months since the last time that I filmed a book haul, so to be honest, I'm not 100% sure which books I've already hauled and which ones I haven't. Also, because it's been so long, I think a lot of these books have already been featured in some of my other videos, like wrap-ups or TBRs, so hopefully this video doesn't feel too redundant, but anyways, let's just get started. Without further ado, I'm going to start with the books that were first sent to me by either publishers or the authors. So first up we have Soul of the Crow by Jessica Willis. This was sent to me from the author in exchange for an honest review, which I did do a full dedicated review for this book, so if you want to learn more about it and my thoughts, I'll leave a link to the video up in the eye in the corner. But to give you a little summary of it here, this takes place in a fantasy world where if you kill someone or something, you become basically like a Grim Reaper, and now you have to like go out and kill people and cross them over to the other side, and Reapers are the only people that are supposed to be able to do that, so that's why if you do kill somebody, then you are now tasked to do that for like the rest of your life. And I really enjoyed this book, so like I said, if you want to learn more about it and my thoughts, go over and watch that review video. Next up we have Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. This was sent to me from the publisher, and this is a science fiction book, which I love the cover of because it kind of looks like an old-fashioned science fiction book cover. Like, you don't see book covers that look like this nowadays, so I really like how it's kind of vintagey looking. But this is a science fiction book in which I believe we follow the daughter of a man who was a whistleblower and basically revealed that the US government has made like alien contact and that there is like an alien on Earth. And it sounds super duper interesting. It was kind of depicted to me as being like a science fiction book that you've never read before, so I am super excited. Also, it was blurbed by Hank Green, which makes me even more happy to read this book, so hopefully I will get to this really soon. Also sent to me from the publisher is Every Last Fear by Alex Finley. This is an adult thriller, I believe, in which we follow a guy called Matt Pine, and he is told when he returns to his dorm that all of his family died unexpectedly from an apparent gas leak that was labeled as an accident, but the police or like the FBI seem less certain that it was an accident. And then there's all of this other stuff having to do with his brother and stuff. I don't really like to read the synopsis of thrillers because I really like to go into my thrillers blind, but this was the second thriller book that this publishing company has sent to me. I believe it's called Minotaur Books, and I enjoyed the first one that they sent me, so hopefully I will love this one also, which is why I don't want to read too much about it. Finally, we've got three books that were all sent to me from the author, who is Tara Tyler. So this first book that we have is Pop Travel, which I believe is like an adult dystopian, maybe science fiction-y kind of book. In this world, it's set in 2080, so it's just a dystopian version of our world. We have something called Pop Travel Teleportation, and then we're following our main character who sees this video of a pop traveler turning to dust, and I think he's like trying to figure out what the deal is with this new like teleportation service. So it sounds really interesting. And then the other two books are middle grade books, which have very cool covers. This one has a dragon on it, so automatically I love it. The first book is called Broken Branch Falls, and the second book is called Cradle Rock, which is books 1 and 2 in the Beast World series. I'm just going to read you the synopsis off the back because I think it will describe the book better than I could. So it says, doing homework for bully ogres and getting laughed at as the butt of pixie pranks, Gabe has had it. When he and his friends step out of their nerdy stereotype and pull a prank of their own on the dragons at the first football game, it literally backfires, bringing a high council vote to dismantle not only Ginkgo High, but the whole town too. The Book of Ages hidden handbook of the High Council, filled with knowledge and power, may be Gabe's only hope. With the help of friends old and new, can Gabe complete his quest to find the book in time to save Broken Branch Falls? So this is the first book in the series. I'm losing my voice clearly after reading that. I'm not the biggest middle grade reader, but this does look like a lot of fun, so maybe I will pick this up soon. So those were all of the books that were sent to me. Now I'm going to move on to the books that I bought myself. So first up we have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I own a couple different editions of Little Women, but when I saw this edition at Walmart, I had to pick it up because it's like the new movie tie-in edition. So it's supposed to be like a replica of the same book that she makes at the end of the Little Women movie, or at least the new one. I haven't seen any of the other adaptations, so it's like kind of a replica, but not really. And then on the inside, it has pictures from the film, which I also really love. I know some people don't really like movie tie-in versions. There's the lovely Meryl Streep, but I actually really like the movie versions, especially when they have the pictures on the inside. So there's one of my favorite scenes of Joe and Laurie dancing. So I have never read Little Women before, but I know that I want my first ever read of it to be this edition, so I am super excited for that. Then there are 2 books that I picked up from Barnes & Noble. Actually, 4 books that I picked up because my birthday was in September, and so I got a gift card there, so I was able to buy a few books. The first 2 are thrillers that I think were both on sale for about $8. The first one is The Breakdown by B.A. Paris. I just read this recently, and I've talked a lot about it in my wrap-up and my vlogs, so I'm not going to go over it again here, but do know that I really enjoyed it. And then the other one that I picked up was Watching You by Lisa Jewell. This is another thriller book that I don't really want to read the synopsis of, but I'm really excited to read this because I just recently read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell and I absolutely loved it. So hopefully I will love this one also, and I really like the cover of it. I then picked up Unbirthday by Liz Braswell. This is the newest book in the Twisted Tales series, which you guys know I love this series. If you haven't heard of it before, it's a series of companion novels. Each one follows a different Disney film, but with some kind of twist on it. So this one is What If Wonderland Was in Peril and Alice Was Very, Very Late. So I love Alice in Wonderland. This is probably one of my favorite movies that they have adapted into the books so far, besides like Beauty and the Beast and maybe Aladdin. But yeah, I'm super excited, and I thought that this was really fitting because I actually went to Barnes & Noble on my birthday and bought a book called Unbirthday, so maybe that's only exciting for me, but I thought it was pretty fun. The final book I bought from Barnes & Noble was Jurassic Park and The Lost World by Michael Crichton. This is their like exclusive leather-bound editions, which I haven't purchased in a while, so I thought because it was my birthday I would treat myself to one of these, and I actually still kept it in its little plastic covering because all of the other books that I have in these editions are currently away in storage, and even though this is just like a puny layer of plastic that isn't going to protect the book at all, for some reason keeping the plastic on in my head will just like protect it a little bit, even though I know it technically won't. But for my sake, we're going to pretend like it does. And then also from Barnes & Noble, this isn't technically a book, but I thought I would show it to you anyway. It's a little journal that I think was on sale for like $5. Like, this was pretty cheap, but I absolutely love the cover of this thing. So it's like a bookshelf, and we've got a girl on a ladder, and then all around here are just like, there's just magical things happening. There's like specific things from the like fairy tales that you can kind of pick out, but then there's also a lot of dragons just like chilling on the shelves, and there's just fairies, and just so much magical stuff is happening, and I absolutely love it. And then on the inside, the pages are lined, but they're also not white. It's like an off-white, almost yellowy kind of shade, so it almost looks a bit like an older, vintagey kind of book. So yeah, I absolutely love this. It's not technically a book, but I thought I would show it to you anyway. Next, we have the book I am currently reading, which is Blood and Honey. This is the second book in the Serpent and Dove series. I read the first book last month, and I already gushed about it in my September wrap-up, so I'm gonna try and keep this to a minimum, but I loved that book so much. This is basically, if you don't know, about a witch who is forced into an arranged marriage with a witch hunter who doesn't know that she's a witch. And this is one of the best romances that I have read in quite a while. It's kind of a hate-to-love story in the first book, and it's very funny, but also so charming at the same time, and I absolutely love it. So, of course, as soon as I finished that book, I got this one, and also just, like, look at the cover. That is stunning. This is one of the best covers I have seen, in my opinion. I thought the first one was pretty, but after seeing this one in person, I think this one is actually even nicer, and I cannot wait to see what the cover of the third book looks like, because I think it's gonna blow my mind. Next up, we have Call Me By Your Name by Andre Astiman. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, so I'm sorry about that, but this is a book that I actually read a couple months ago. I listened to the audiobook. It was narrated by Armie Hammer, and I loved this story so much. So I wanted to get the physical copy for 2 reasons. One, just because I love the story, so I wanted to have it a part of my collection, but also because even though I listened to it, you could definitely still hear how beautiful the writing was. So I felt like if I physically read it again, I think I could appreciate the writing even more. So I really want to reread this soon. I think I'm going to wait until January just so it doesn't look like I read the same book twice in 1 year on my Goodreads, which there's nothing wrong with doing that, but just the way that my brain is, I feel like I want to wait until January. But frankly, it's pretty short, so I feel like this could work for a nice like readathon that I might be hosting in November if anybody wants to participate in that when I announce it. But yeah, I just love this. If you don't know what this book is about, it is basically a love story at its finest. It is set in the 80s in Italy. We're following 17-year-old Elio. He's our main character, and his family, every year they take in a student, and this year it's a young man called Oliver, and this is basically the story of Elio and Oliver and their relationship. It gives you all the feels, the good and the bad, and I just loved it. I really need to watch the movie because I think I'm gonna love it also. Finally, for this book haul, my last two books are both by the same author. The first one is From Here to Eternity, and the second one is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Both of these books are by Caitlin Doty, who is a mortician, and she's also a YouTuber where she makes videos about death and dying, and that is basically what these two books are about. So the first book we have here, From Here to Eternity, the tagline is Traveling the World to Find the Good Death. So this is basically about different cultures around the world and how they deal with death and mourning and burials and that kind of thing, because turns out around the world the way they deal with that stuff, very different from America, and it's absolutely fascinating. I felt so, I don't know if enlightened is really the right word, but that's like how I felt after reading this book, because I just learned so much about all these different cultures around the world, and it was so interesting and eye-opening. So this is the first book. The second one is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? The tagline for this is Big Questions from Tiny Mortals About Death. So basically, she made a compilation of all these questions that kids had asked about death, which were very valid questions and things I would like to know the answers to also, and then she answered all of the questions in this book. So to give you a little example of some of the questions, it's like, when I die, will my cat eat my eyeballs? What would happen to an astronaut body in space? Can I keep my parents' skulls after they die? Will my body sit up or speak on its own after I died? If I died making a stupid face, would it be stuck like that forever? Someone is trying to sell a house, do they have to tell the buyer someone died there? What if they make a mistake and bury me when I'm in a coma? What would happen if you died on a plane? And so on and so forth. Those are just a few examples of the questions in this book, and I absolutely loved this book. I love both of these, obviously. So I had read these originally in the library, so I wanted to get physical editions for my collection because I just love these books so much and I can't recommend them enough, and I really hope that this author writes more books soon because I need more death-related things in my life, as disturbing as that sounds. So yeah, those are all of the books that I've acquired over the last few months. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
You hear that, Samson?